Yeah, love that.
And John Jimmer is a frequent listener, to follow him. So Jimmer, we love you. Thanks for listening. And Craig, maybe I can combine this with what John just said. Take our two questions and merge them into one. It seems that these unbelievers, one, rejoice over their brethren's difficulty, and two, really act irrationally. Fear seems to do that to you, is that, like you said, you want to become authoritarian and look down on someone and feel good when someone else is suffering. And then two, to act in a way that you probably wouldn't behave if you weren't in that fight or flight mode.
Love it. Yes. Rational means real, which means reality. So you're building from this foundation of truth and what's real. And irrational is you're building off these, to use the language, these lyings and deceivings, these false things. But every living organism needs to find security and safety. So now when you don't live off truth, you've got to find some other way. And one of the temporary ways is to put yourself above and put others beneath and discredit others so you can feel more secure about yourself. The research calls it, when we're angry, it actually inflates, it's ego inflating, and you feel better about yourself temporarily. That's the problem with anger. When you get angry in sports, say you get angry and you're inflating and you play better for a moment. Well, that's because you're inflating your ego and you temporarily have a greater sense of control over your environment, but it fades quickly. But it creates this pattern of, well, anger actually helps me. Well, yes, for a very small time. Be careful, because once you create that habit and rely on anger, the reason it's helping you is you feel better than everybody else. And instead of focusing on you and being highly competent yourself, the competition is not with other people. The biggest thing I've done in all these years of working in sports is teaching people to stop comparing and stop competing with others and compete with yourself and build your own skills and your own competency. And honestly, I mean, being very blessed and being involved in 2 NBA championships, and I'll never forget one of them that we won. This particular athlete, the night before the game, I go over to his house to do a session, and he answers the door and says to me, "Doc, I don't owe you anything." And I'm thinking, okay, this is night before game 6. Where are we going with this? And he's like, "I just feel like I'm really good with myself and I'm unapologetic with myself." He was just being himself. He was just being him. He wasn't competing with anyone else. He wasn't worried about the opponents, not having any mental energy on anything else other than what he has control over and what he was responsible for. When he won that game, he won the NBA championship, and he performed at a very high level. So, like, to me, it's the gospel. It's about us becoming. Who are we and who are we becoming? And it's super easy to add becoming like Christ, but that's what the science says. Who are we becoming as human beings?
Craig, didn't you have one of your players say to you, he's in the NBA, "Craig, where do you get all this stuff?"
Yeah. I'm super open. I'm very careful. I don't want to, offend people. I'm trying to be as careful. I don't want to be a careless person. I try to be as careful as I can. And yes, he said that. And I'm like, it's from the gospel. It's from scripture. Because if you do the science the right way and the gospel, they're so in alignment. They're so connected. Yeah, there's so many times with those that I know are okay with it. I'm like, yep, I got it from this scripture. I got it from this scripture. Yeah. How do you know this? Well, yeah, I was working on it this morning and this is what I learned this morning. So this is where I got it from. Yeah, all the time.
That's great.
Some of the most toughest individuals I had the opportunity to work with that are from really, really tough cities and tough backgrounds. The ultimate compliment, one day I was working with this guy that I love him and he was so tough. And I'm trying to never tell him what to do. Just state the facts, teach them the truth and let them govern themselves. Never tell them what to do, because these guys are so tough. They don't want you to tell them what to do. And he finally said to me, he's like, "Doc, you know why I love meeting with you?" And I'm like, "No, but I want to know." He's like, "Because you never tell me what to do. You just teach me the truth. And that's what I love." I'm like, oh, I got to write that down. I got to remember that. People just want truth in the end. They don't want you to tell them what to do. They just want truth, especially this younger generation. They want truth to help them be transformative, which is really what this is about, right? Lift up your head. We're trying to help people transform and be the best version of themselves. You got to teach them truth as best as you can so that they have that foundation, that rock to build off. It's not about us. It's about the truth. It's independent of us.